The Holy One, blessed be He. Welcome to Beit Yisrael International's Voice of Torah podcast, where the light of Torah shines forth to the nations. I'm Gaddi Efrayim, and it's my honor to guide you on today's profound journey through the teachings of Parashat Vayetzei 5:7-85. Together, we will uncover the eternal relevance of Jacob's dream and the mystical vision of the ladder that connects heaven and earth, drawing upon the timeless wisdom of the prominent sages. This week's Torah Parashat, meaning He went out, opens with one of the most iconic and mystical moments in the Torah Cub's dream of a ladder reaching to the heavens, with angels ascending and descending upon it. This profound vision is not merely a fleeting dream, but a revelation of deep spiritual truth, highlighting the connection with the earthly and heavenly realms and the divine mission entrusted to Jacob and his descendants. Jacob's ladder, Sulam, Sinai bridge where heaven meets earth, uniting divine revelation with human ascent. This evocative imagery invites us into a profound exploration of one of the Torah's most mystical symbols, the ladder in Jacob's dream. Far from being an isolated vision, this ladder serves as a paradigm for the ongoing relationship between the divine and the human, spanning across the narrative arcs of the Torah. The sages, particularly in Genesis, draw a striking parallel between Jacob's ladder and Mount Sinai. Both are symbols of divine revelation and human elevation, places where heaven and earth intersect in profound unity. Just as Jacob sees angels ascending and descending on the Sulam ladder, so too, at Sinai, God's presence descends to reveal the Torah while Moses ascends to receive it. This connection highlights the reciprocity of revelation, bridge that requires both divine initiative and human effort. The ladder also connects to other significant symbols in Jewish tradition, such as the temple described in the Midrash as the axis where heaven and earth meet, and the throne of glory, which represents the divine sovereignty manifest in the world. The sages suggest that Jacob's dream foreshadows the giving of the Torah, where the voice of God resounded from heaven, bringing divine wisdom into the human realm. In today's episode, we will delve into these interwoven themes, exploring how Jacob's ladder serves as a blueprint for understanding divine revelation, the sanctity of space, and the spiritual journey of humanity. How do the angels' wings mirror the duality of Torah, its spiritual origin and practical application in the world? What lessons can we draw from the ladder's role as a symbol of ascent, struggle, and divine connection in our own lives? Join us as our host, Agents Abraham, and explore the timeless wisdom of the sages and climb Jacob's ladder to discover its profound connections to Sinai, the temple, and the divine voice that continues to resonate in our hearts and souls.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready.
Well, today we're going to be talking about Jacob's journey into exile, as described in the teachings of Beit Yisrael International and Gaddi Efrayim.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating journey, both literally, like geographically, but also kind of metaphorically.
Yeah.
Spiritually.
Yeah, like what does it mean for us in our own personal journeys?
Exactly. So Jacob's journey isn't just about going from one place to another. It's really a blueprint, kind of, for how we can approach our own challenges, and find those moments of redemption when things get tough.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because, in this deep dive, we're exploring this concept of exile, not as like a punishment or a purely negative thing,
Right.
but it's like almost an opportunity to kind of go through a transformational process.
Yeah, like exile itself being the seed of redemption.
Right, exactly. So let's actually set the scene here. We've got Jacob, who's the grandson of Abraham. He's leaving Beersheba and he's going to Charan.
Right.
But these places aren't just like dots on a map.
Not at all, no. They represent different states of being, I guess you could say, like spiritual states.
Right.
And the challenges that we all face in our lives as we're moving towards, finding our purpose.
Okay, so let's talk about Jacob for a second because, like, who is this guy?
Right.
And why is he kind of like the chosen one for this incredible transformative journey? What's so special about him?
Well, I think it's really interesting because he's described as embodying this quality of tiferet, which is this perfect balance of kindness, gevurah.
Interesting.
And he inherited these qualities. Like we inherit things from our family, from his lineage. His grandfather, Abraham, was known for his kindness, his just like boundless and resilience. So Jacob's kind of have this lineage.
He has both sides of the equation.
Right.
That's really interesting. So that would make sense as to why he is chosen to go on this journey, because he has this perfect balance.
Yeah, you need both. I mean, think about it. You need compassion to connect with people.
Absolutely, yeah.
But you also need that inner strength to overcome those challenges. You can't just be one or the other.
Right. You can't just be all, I'm just going to be super nice and then let people walk all over you. But then you can't also be like super strong, and then
Yeah.
not be able to connect with anybody on a personal level.
Exactly.
So where does this balance come into play? Like, how did Jacob actually use this to overcome these obstacles?
So there's a really powerful story where Jacob has to confront his brother, Esau.
Oh, right, and Esau was going to kill him.
Exactly. Yeah. Esau had vowed to kill him.
Wow.
And so Jacob, understandably fearing for his life and for the lives of his family,
Right.
he doesn't approach Esau with aggression.
Right.
He goes to him with humility and with gifts.
Oh, wow.
And this act of kindness, combined with the fact that he had also, strategically planned to make sure his family was safe, it shows that perfect balance,
He's thinking ahead,
Yes.
using both.
He used both his heart and his mind to face this seemingly impossible challenge.
And he lived.
And he lived.
That's really incredible and such a good example of how important it is to use both and not just lean too heavily on one side or the other. So let's actually talk about Beersheba now.
Okay.
So that's where this journey begins. And, the sources describe it as a place of deep spiritual wisdom and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
They connect it to Bina, which means divine understanding. So I guess my question is what makes Beersheba so special in this context? Why start there?
Well, think about what happened in Beersheba. We have Abraham, Jacob's grandfather. He dug wells there.
Oh, right.
And these wells provided water, not just for his family, but for the entire community.
So he was sharing this very essential thing with everybody.
Exactly. And it was this place where his wisdom and his generosity manifested. It created a source of life,
Literally.
Literally, it was sustenance. And we also see Isaac, Jacob's father, receiving divine guidance in Beersheba. So it's a place that's imbued with this legacy of spiritual insight.
Wow. So there's a lot going on in Beersheba. A lot of deep meaning, a lot of connection, a lot of wisdom. So it's kind of a head scratcher as to why he would leave.
Right.
Why would he leave such a place? Why go into exile at all from this place?
Well, I think that question is precisely the point. He's leaving this place of clarity, of comfort, to go to Charan. It means that he was supposed to go face those challenges head on. It's not about escaping the world. It's about bringing that spiritual light that he gained in Beersheba to a place that really needs it.
So it's like taking all that good stuff, all that wisdom, and putting it into action in a more challenging environment.
Yes. It's not enough to just have the knowledge.
Right.
You have to go and share it with the world.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Now, his destination, this place called Charan, it's described as very different from Beersheba. It's kind of like the opposite. It's very materialistic,
Very much so.
worldly,
Yes.
full of distraction, struggle.
I think of it like the physical world.
Right.
With all of its messiness.
The nitty-gritty.
Exactly.
Okay, so he's going from this peaceful oasis, spiritual oasis, into the thick of it.
Right.
So then how does that journey to this, I guess, more chaotic environment, how does it represent an opportunity for redemption?
Well, I think this is where that concept of Tiferet comes in.
Okay.
Because it's not just about being kind or strong. It's about bringing those qualities to a place that maybe forgets about them sometimes, So exile in this context, it's not a punishment. It's a chance to go to a place and infuse it with that spirituality.
So you're saying exile can actually be a catalyst for growth and positive change.
Exactly.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, think about it. How often do we grow the most when we're outside our comfort zones?
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no pain, no gain. So it actually reminds me of Rabbi Chaya's analogy
Yes.
of the setting and rising sun
From the Zohar.
from the Zohar. Can you remind us about that? What does that mean?
Yeah, so he says that Jacob's journey is kind of like when the sun sets and then rises again. So that descent into exile, kind of like the sun setting, it might seem like there's a loss of light, right?
Right.
But that setting is actually what makes the rise so much more powerful.
Oh, that's a really beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
So it's like you go down to come up even stronger. So then how can we apply this to, our own personal journeys?
Well, we all experience our own exiles, right?
Right.
Those times when we feel lost or we face setbacks or we're just going through a really challenging situation.
Our own personal chariots.
Yeah, exactly. But if we remember that analogy of the setting sun, maybe those experiences are setting the stage for something even greater to emerge in our lives,
Yeah, so don't lose hope when you're in those moments of darkness.
Exactly. Jacob went on to transform Charan. What seemed like exile ultimately led to incredible growth and positive change.
And he laid a foundation for the future.
Exactly. And we can do the same.
That's a great point. Now, I want to take a step back and look at kind of this big picture idea, the soul's journey. So the sages teach that each one of our souls goes through a type of exile as well, like coming from a pure spiritual origin
Right.
and descending into this physical world.
Right.
So how does that idea connect to Jacob's journey and like our lives as well?
It's a beautiful parallel.
Yeah.
Because just like Jacob, we each come into this world with a unique purpose. We each have our own light to share. And this physical world, with all its challenges and complexities,
Right.
that becomes our charan. It's the place where we're meant to bring that light.
So we each have our own personal charan to illuminate.
We do.
It's a really cool way to think about it. So if our lives are these journeys, just like Jacob's, how can we figure out what our charans are? What can we learn from Jacob's experience and how he approached his exile to kind of help us on our own paths?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
But I think Jacob teaches us that exile isn't about just enduring the hardship. It's about actively transforming it.
Right.
He didn't just survive. He used his kindness, his strength. He thrived in this difficult environment. And in doing so, he actually helped something greater to emerge.
And he transformed Charan. He didn't let Charan transform him.
Exactly. And that's the potential that we all have within us.
We're diving into Jacob's dream.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the one at Bethel with the ladder stretching up to heaven.
I'm ladder to heaven.
With the angels going up and down.
Fascinating stuff.
We'll be looking at this through the lens of Beit Yisrael International
Okay.
and using Gaddi Efrayim's commentary as our guide.
Sounds good.
So get ready because we're going deep into Jewish mystical thought.
Awesome. I love this dream.
Me too.
It's been passed down for generations, and it still resonates today.
It really does.
It's not just a story,
Right.
It helps us understand how the spiritual and physical realms are connected.
So true. So can you set the scene for us?
Sure.
What exactly did Jacob see?
Jacob had this vision of a ladder,
Okay.
and it was stretching all the way up to the heavens.
Ugh.
And there were angels going up and down this ladder.
Constantly going up and down.
Yeah, what do you think about that? What's the significance of that movement?
Well, to me, that constant movement really stands out.
Yeah,
You know, it's like this never-ending flow.
it's like a bridge.
Yeah, like a bridge between those two realms.
Exactly.
What do the sages say about it?
They see it as a symbol of divine energy.
Okay.
This energy is constantly flowing.
Like a back and forth.
Yeah, between heaven and earth. A cosmic dialogue, connecting us to something much greater than ourselves.
It reminds me of Mount Sinai,
Yes.
where Moses received the Torah.
That's right.
Another powerful example of heaven and earth coming together.
Exactly.
It's like these two moments in Jewish history, Mount Sinai and Jacob's ladder,
Right.
both showing that profound connection.
Yes, that's a great point. And it's not just the ladder itself,
Right.
but the angels have specific roles. They're like guides,
Oh, wow.
divine guides.
Yeah.
Rashi, the commentator, pointed out a detail. When Jacob travels in Israel,
Okay.
he's accompanied by angels ascending the ladder.
Going up.
Yeah. But then when he heads towards Charan, those angels descend.
They go back down.
Yeah, and a new group takes over.
It's like a divine shift change,
Right.
making sure Jacob's always protected.
No matter where he goes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that in your own life? That unseen support when you're going through something?
It's a powerful thought.
Yeah.
It makes me think about this idea of divine presence.
Right.
And how it goes beyond physical boundaries.
So true.
And that brings us to another key moment.
Okay.
Jacob declares Bethel as the gateway to heaven.
Ah, yes.
It's not just about seeing the vision,
Okay.
but about making a place spiritually significant,
Right.
imbuing it with that meaning.
So could any place be a gateway then?
That's an interesting thought.
Well, if we just infuse it with intention.
The sages would probably agree with that.
Well.
Yeah, they say that what Jacob did made that connection accessible,
Okay.
even during exile,
Even when things are tough.
when they were scattered. Bethel became a really important place of worship.
It makes that connection real.
Right, like a physical reminder.
I like that.
Yeah, this was especially true during Jeroboam's reign.
Okay, so who was Jeroboam?
He was a king who tried to establish other places of worship,
Oh, interesting.
but Bethel still held a special place.
It still stood out.
Yeah.
So we've got the ladder as a bridge,
Okay.
this constant flow of energy,
Right.
and Bethel as a gateway.
What else is there?
But there's one more aspect
Okay.
that's really fascinating to me.
All right, I'm listening.
The prophetic aspect.
Yes, the prophecy.
Midrash offers another perspective on this.
Tell me more.
It sees those angels going up and down
Yeah.
as representing the rise and fall of nations,
Oh, interesting.
the nations that would rule over Israel.
You mean it's like a peek into the future?
Yeah, like Jacob's getting a glimpse of what's to come,
Wow.
a vision of resilience and redemption.
Despite the tough times.
Exactly.
So it's not just a personal dream.
No, it's a message of hope,
For all the Jewish people.
a roadmap through history.
It suggests that even when things are chaotic,
Yeah,
there's a plan,
a bigger picture,
a promise of connection.
and eventually a return.
Exactly. And that's what makes this dream so powerful.
It really is.
It's about our individual journeys,
Yeah,
but also the story of a people.
it makes you think.
It does. It leaves us with a question to think about. If Jacob's ladder represents that bridge between the spiritual and physical,
Yeah.
what are the ladders in our own lives?
What are those things that help us connect to something bigger?
You know, the experiences, the practices, the places
The things that lift us up,
that give us meaning.
that connect us to something beyond ourselves.
Exactly.
Something to think about for sure.
Yes.
The spiritual meaning, the history behind it. And, I was checking out some stuff from Beit Yisrael International and Gaddi Efrayim. They've got some really interesting takes on Jacob's ladder.
Definitely. It's one of those symbols, right? You see it pop up everywhere, and it always seems to resonate with people.
It's like, that deep down, maybe we're all kind of looking for that connection, right?
Mm.
Between the world we see every day and something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, that search for something more.
Exactly.
Right.
And Jacob's ladder, it kind of gets at that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the thing is, even if you're not like super familiar with the whole story, there's something about it, right? It's like a bridge between heaven and earth.
Totally. And that's what I love about this source material.
Yeah.
It literally describes the ladder as a connection between the physical and the divine.
It's more than just climbing up to heaven, though, isn't it?
Right. It's about bringing heaven down to earth.
Bringing it down here. And Beit Yisrael International, they talk about this concept. It's called Yerida and Aliyah.
Descent and ascent.
Yeah, exactly. And it's suggesting that divine energy, it flows both ways. So it's not just us reaching up, it's something coming down to meet us.
I love that. And it's through what we do here, our actions, that we kind of elevate ourselves and the world around us.
Makes you think about how our choices really do matter.
It's like, that idea of the Torah itself being like a ladder. That's straight from the source material. And each mitzvah, each act of kindness, it's like another rung.
And each step takes you higher, right?
Yeah. Have you ever felt that, like, when you do something good, it's like you're actually climbing towards something, greater purpose?
It's a powerful feeling, and it's so connected to what you were just saying about the Torah as a ladder.
Yeah, so true. Okay, so that brings us to Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, right?
Yeah. Huge concept.
But it's more than just fixing what's broken, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It goes deeper.
Way deeper. And I was reading Gaddi Efrayim, and they had this take on it that was so interesting.
Oh, really? What did they say?
They were saying that it's not just about, solving the problems out there in the world. It's about this inner transformation, too, like recognizing the divine spark within us.
And letting that light shine out.
Exactly. That's it. Perfectly.
So each act of Tikkun Olam, no matter how small, it's like adding to the collective light. I like that.
Me too. Okay, we got to talk about the angels, right? Can't talk about Jacob's ladder without them.
Of course. Always a crowd pleaser.
So some people take it literally, right? Angels as these actual beings. But then others, they see them more as metaphors.
Right, like symbols for something else.
What are some of the ways, like throughout history, that people have understood these angels?
Well, I mean, you've got them as messengers, guides, bringing messages from the divine. Like Beit Yisrael International, they suggest that they represent like the different ways that God interacts with us, with humanity.
Oh, I like that.
It's like these different facets of the divine, right?
So many ways to connect. It's like when, you're working on something and then suddenly, boom, this idea just hits you.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it's like an opportunity seems to come out of nowhere. Could those be like our own personal angel moments?
I love that thought. Those moments of like sudden clarity or synchronicity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the universe is kind of winking at you. Or maybe it's just an unexpected act of kindness from someone.
Right, like little nudges from the divine, pointing us in the right direction, guiding us along.
I love it. Okay, shifting gears a little bit. Jacob's ladder, it also symbolizes Israel's journey.
Their journey through exile and return.
Such a powerful story, right? Resilience. This enduring hope for restoration.
It's like, no matter what you're going through, there's always that possibility. Returning, rebuilding, finding your way back. like back to wholeness.
And it's not just about a specific group of people.
No, not at all. It's a universal thing. We all face challenges, and it's about finding the strength to overcome them.
And at the heart of that journey, we've got this idea of the eternal covenant, God's promise to Jacob and his descendants. What's the significance of that, like beyond the context of Jewish history?
That's a great question. And I think at its core, the eternal covenant represents the power of commitment and the potential for lasting connection. It's a reminder that even when things feel chaotic, there are these enduring forces, love and promise, and they bind us together.
Powerful stuff. So we've explored Jacob's ladder as a bridge between realms, this symbol of like personal and collective action, and this amazing testament to resilience and hope.
What a journey, right?
It really is. But the journey doesn't end here.
Oh, so true.
It's an invitation to look at the rungs on our own ladders. What choices are we making? What kind of impact are we having on the world? And then ultimately, what kind of legacy are we building, step by step?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is. And it's one worth pondering.
All right, so we're diving into Jacob's ladder today. And let's be real, it's a lot more than just a simple dream.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those stories that just keeps resonating throughout history.
We've got interpretations from like every corner of Jewish thought, Rashi, Ramban, the Zohar, even the Hasidic masters.
It's amazing how this one image, this ladder connecting heaven and earth, sparks so many different interpretations.
And the thing is, they don't all agree on what it means. Some see it as a map for personal spiritual growth.
Others see it as a prophecy about, like, the Jewish people's journey through history.
And get this, some even see it as a blueprint for how to pray.
It's mind-blowing how much depth and meaning people have found in this one image.
So let's climb this ladder rung by rung and explore each interpretation. What secrets will it reveal? Let's start with Rashi. He really focused on those angels going up and down.
Yeah, Rashi didn't just see them as, like, generic heavenly beings. He saw them as specific guardians assigned to Jacob.
Like a divine security detail.
Exactly. He points out that the angels ascending were the ones accompanying Jacob in the land of Israel.
Oh, and the ones descending were there to guide him during his exile.
You got it. It's like this symbolic changing of the guard. Jacob's leaving his homeland, heading into uncertain territory.
And Rashi's saying, hey, don't worry, you've got backup.
Exactly. Rashi's highlighting this beautiful concept that even when we face challenges, when we feel alone,
divine protection is always there.
Always. There's this sense of comfort knowing that no matter where we are in life, we're not truly alone.
Okay, so Rashi focused on this very personal, almost protective aspect of the ladder.
Right.
But then Ramban comes along and he takes this much wider cosmic view.
Ramban's not just thinking about Jacob, he's thinking about the whole universe, the interconnectedness of everything.
So for Ramban, the ladder isn't just about Jacob's individual journey. It symbolizes something much bigger.
Exactly.
Wow.
He sees it as a representation of God's constant presence and involvement in the world.
So those angels going up and down, they're not just hanging out, are they?
Definitely not. Ramban sees them as these divine intermediaries carrying out God's will in the world.
Hold on, so is Ramban saying that God is like micromanaging every little thing that happens?
Well, it's a complex question. Ramban emphasizes God's omnipresence, the idea that God is actively involved in all worldly affairs.
But doesn't that clash with free will? Like, do we even have a choice in anything?
That's a great question, and it's something that scholars have debated for centuries.
So how do we reconcile these two ideas, God's involvement and our own free will?
Ramban acknowledges human agency, our ability to make choices that shape our lives and the world.
So maybe it's not about micromanaging, but more like a constant presence, a guiding force that's always there.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Ramban's interpretation provides a sense of reassurance that whether we're facing personal challenges or witnessing global events,
God's care and guidance extend to all of creation.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've got this sense of divine protection with Rambi and then this cosmic connection with Ramban.
Right. Two very different but equally powerful perspectives.
But then comes Rabbi Hirsch. And he's like, hey, what about us? What about the human element?
Rabbi Hirsch brings it back to the individual, to our capacity for spiritual growth. He sees the ladder as a representation of our potential to elevate ourselves.
To strive for greater closeness with God.
Exactly. The base of the ladder, firmly planted on earth, signifies our starting point.
And the top reaching towards heaven symbolizes our ultimate goal.
You got it. And those angels going up and down.
They represent our own efforts and progress on this spiritual journey.
Precisely. We're all climbing this ladder, sometimes taking steps forward, sometimes slipping back.
But always with the potential to reach higher.
Always. It's not about being perfect. It's about constantly striving, learning, and growing.
I love that. It's so relatable. We've all
Yeah.
been there, right? Trying to climb that ladder, sometimes feeling like we're making progress, sometimes feeling stuck.
Exactly. And Rabbi Hirsch emphasizes that it's through our own choices and actions that we ascend towards a deeper connection with the divine.
Powerful stuff. So we've got personal divine protection with Rashi, cosmic connection with Ramban, and now this very empowering message about human potential with Rabbi Hirsch.
And we're just getting started. There's so many more layers to uncover.
Just wait till we get to the Midrash. They throw in a whole other layer this time about history and the journey of the Jewish people.
Oh, yeah. The Midrash takes us on a wild ride through time. It's fascinating.
I'm ready. Buckle up, everybody.
This is where things get really interesting.
So the Midrash sees Jacob's ladder as this, prophecy, like a sneak peek into Jewish history.
Yeah, exactly. It's this idea that each angel represents, the rise and fall of empires throughout history.
Whoa, hold on. So each rung on the ladder is like a different period in Jewish history.
You got it. All those empires, all those challenges and triumphs, they're all part of this grand ladder.
That's intense. But if each angel represents a different empire, how does that work with the angels going up and down?
Right. Good question. The Midrash is saying that history isn't linear. There are moments of ascent and descent.
Like a dance, back and forth between strength and weakness, exile and redemption.
Precisely. It's this intricate tapestry of history with ups and downs, twists and turns.
So it's not just a straight shot to the top. It's more like a cosmic jungle gym.
Haha, I like that. We're climbing, slipping, finding our way through this maze of history.
But even with all the chaos, the Midrash is saying there's a deeper purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like God's guiding hand is still there.
Absolutely. There's a divine plan unfolding through time, even amidst the craziness.
Okay, so we've gone from personal protection to cosmic connection to human potential and now historical prophecy. Where do we go from here?
Get ready, because things are about to get even more mind-bending as we enter the world of Kabbalah.
Oh boy, here we go.
The Zohar offers a totally different perspective on Jacob's ladder. It's like putting on a new pair of glasses.
So the Zohar, the big book of Kabbalah, is saying that the ladder isn't a physical thing anymore. It's like a map of our inner world.
Exactly. It represents the soul's journey through different spiritual realms. Each rung is a different level of awareness.
Whoa, so it's not about physically climbing a ladder, but about this inner process of spiritual growth and understanding.
You got it. The Zohar is all about this incredible capacity we have for inner transformation, for peeling back layers of consciousness.
Peeling back layers. I like that imagery. So how did the Hasidic masters fit into all of this? Weren't they all about making these mystical ideas relevant to everyday life?
Absolutely. And that's where the Baal Shem Tov comes in. He sees Jacob's ladder as a metaphor for prayer.
Wait a minute. How does a ladder become a blueprint for prayer?
Okay, imagine this. As we pray, our souls ascend towards God, seeking connection and inspiration.
Like Jacob climbing the ladder.
Exactly. And then we descend, bringing that divine energy back down into the world, just like the angels.
So it's like a two-way street. We go up to connect with God, and then we come back down to bring that holiness into our lives.
Precisely. It's linked to the idea of tikkun olam, repairing the world. We ascend to receive, and then we descend to give back.
Wow. It's like this spiritual circuit, this constant flow of energy between heaven and earth.
And we're not just passive participants. We're actively involved in this exchange.
We're like spiritual conduits. So we've gone from personal protection to cosmic connection to human potential to prophecy to mysticism to prayer as tikkun olam.
And just when you thought we were done, there's one more rung to explore.
Seriously, I'm exhausted. But bring it on. What's next?
Sforno, a 16th century Italian commentator. He adds another layer to the mix. He focuses on the power of the human intellect.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. How does Sforno see Jacob's ladder?
He interprets it as representing the human mind's ability to ascend towards divine wisdom.
So like those aha moments when we suddenly grasp a concept or see things in a new light.
Exactly. Those are like the angels ascending, bringing us flashes of insight and understanding.
And what about the angels descending?
Those represent the times when that clarity fades, when we had to struggle to regain that understanding.
It's like we take a step back, but then we have to keep climbing, keep striving for knowledge.
Precisely, Sforno is highlighting the dynamic nature of intellectual and spiritual growth. It's a constant back and forth.
We've covered so much ground today, from angels to exile to cosmic connections to prayer to the power of the mind. It's incredible how much meaning is packed into this one image of Jacob's ladder.
It's amazing, right? Each interpretation offers its own unique perspective, revealing the depth and richness of the story.
You know, I used to think of Jacob's ladder as this, like, straightforward climb to heaven. You reach the top and boom, you're done.
Yeah, a lot of people see it that way.
But now I see it as so much more dynamic. It's a dance, a constant interplay between heaven and earth, between striving and surrendering.
It's about the journey itself, not just the destination.
It makes you think about where you are on that ladder right now. Where are you climbing to?
And more importantly, what are you bringing back down with you?
What are you sharing with the world?
That's a great question to ponder.
It really is. We've talked about ascending the ladder, reaching for greater understanding and connection.
But what about the descent? What about bringing those insights back down into the world?
It's like we can get so focused on our own spiritual growth that we forget about the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the ascent, the pursuit of enlightenment.
But the real work happens when we bring that wisdom back down to earth.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely. The descent is where we put our spiritual insights into action.
Where we make a real difference.
That's where we see if our beliefs can actually hold up in the real world. You know, it's one thing to talk the talk.
But it's another thing to walk the walk.
Exactly.
So Jacob's ladder isn't just about personal transformation. It's also a call to action.
It's an invitation to participate in Tikkun Olam.
To repair the world.
To heal the brokenness.
We started this deep dive talking about angels and exile, cosmic connection, and all these different interpretations.
And now we've arrived at this incredible call to action.
This responsibility to bring our spiritual insights down into the world.
To use them to make a positive impact.
It's amazing how this one image, this ladder, can hold so much meaning.
It's a powerful symbol that speaks to us on so many levels.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thought you want to leave our listeners with today?
I'd ask them to consider this. Where do you see yourself on this ladder? Are you still climbing, or are you bringing your wisdom back down to earth?
It's a powerful question. And how can we each use our own unique gifts and insights to contribute to the ascent of humanity as a whole?
Exactly. We're all in this together.
That's a beautiful message to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Jacob's ladder. We'll see you next time.